Hi there, my name is Kian Hill, and today I'm going to talk to you about how we can improve the food on campus here at the University of New Mexico. All right, so let's walk through what we have for food options on campus. At the UNM sub, which is pictured below, we have a few choices um, that include Blake's Lotta Burger, Chick-fil-A, Dion's, Subway, just to name a few. And so what do these food options have in common? Well, they're not that great. Fast food is filled with junk food, right? This type of food has high amounts of salt, fat, sugar, non-edible substances like dyes, right? And I hope that it comes as no surprise, but this fast food isn't good for you. More specifically, the Cleveland Health Clinic, leading research group, states that fast food raises your blood pressure as well as your cholesterol. It creates digestive problems, um, makes you gain weight, and affects your mood, which is really not good for, students at UNM who are trying to study and who are young. And it even goes against UNM's mandates. It goes against their goals for what they want to see on campus. They said they want to see a healthy campus, and this is definitely not it. Another thing that's wrong with what we have on campus is its high cost, right? In relation to inflation, we see here McDonald's, which is actually an industry leader, and usually a lot of researchers will go to McDonald's to better understand market trends. We can see that their prices have raised greatly in relation to inflation. The percentages here in the red show how much they have increased, and for things like the McChicken up top in the right, has seen a 200% increase in relation to inflation. And so that's another thing that's hurting the consumers. They're not getting the most bang for their buck, um, which needs to change. There's better options available. And so, what are those options? Those options are food carts. And what food carts are is sort of like a mini food truck. Um, it's not a doesn't have the option to drive itself, but it could be pushed by a person or sort of just like wheeled in on campus. And this will benefit students because it'll change the way that companies do business at UNM, so it'll lower those prices. The community can actually engage in selling food at UNM. And the university will benefit too because they're helping the students and the staff. Um, I just want to reiterate that food carts are something that could be very grassroots, right? There's low cost to maintain a food cart. There's low barriers to have one of these things. So really, anybody from the community who has the time could actually do this. So how will this specifically work? Like, what are the things that we need to change in order to see food carts on campus? Well, one main question that needs to be answered and that people need to be convinced of in order to do this is the economics of this. And at the core of my argument is that introducing food carts will lower the prices of food that is sold on campus. And this is backed by the economic principle called the opportunity cost, which essentially states that consumers, which are the staff, students, and community, the consumers will choose the option that is cheaper, right? So when two food options are, similar, um, the lower one will be the option that the consumers buy. And this in turn forces the company with the higher price to also lower their price, so they're not going to sell anything, right? This is what the food carts do because there's a low cost to operate, and because there's low barriers. They don't charge as much, and it'll give students to have the option for cheaper food. Another reason is that this will help diversify food options at UNM, which is also important for a healthy economy. In this quote down below, we have the food truck market is so popular for food business owners because it's perceived as a fair industry. No company holds more than 3% market share, allowing for healthy competition and an equal opportunity to attract more customers. Due to how broken up the food truck industry is, there's a lot of potential for growth and brand establishment in the years to come. And that pretty much says it. For a healthy economy, diversity is important, and this is how we get it. Now, the second thing, um, is sort of a barrier to having these food carts on campus is the safety, right? UNM is solely responsible for the safety of students and people on campus. This includes things like fire hazards and tripping hazards and blocking access ways for people and also food safety, right? We can't have anybody getting poisoned. Um, but all these worries could already be mitigated by the rules already in place, right? So there's already a handbook and rules to ensure that staff and people are safe from food trucks. Um, and the only thing that needs to happen is we need to expand on those rules and maybe open up a new space for these food carts to be, because there's already space on campus for it. Okay, so how do we implement this plan? Well, first off, let's look at how food trucks already get their licenses to be on campus. And usually, this just means that they need to have the proper certifications. The states that they are up to fire code and have a food handler's permit, and they need to just coordinate with the purchasing department. Usually, they'll reach out to the purchasing department, or they'll already be known to the purchasing department and the staff will reach out to them to host certain events, right? And so, what we need to do in the purchasing department is we need to create a separate system for food carts, right? One for food trucks and one for food carts, and set up licenses to be at this place at the sub um, more permanently, right? I think a week license is a good length of time. And so each week that a food cart wants to be on campus, they just apply for those. Speaking of these places, here's a video where food trucks usually come by and are positioned for um, when UNM hosts events. The other one is to coordinate with the Environmental Health and Safety Department. That is the department that is responsible for the space that these food carts can be on, right? So we need to open up both sides of the sub to that walkway on the sub to be open to food carts. We also need to make sure there are more trash cans available um, for people who are eating food, right? And so this will create very specific steps for food carts to gain access on campus, right? And after all those steps that I just listed before are followed by the purchasing department and the food and environmental department, um, people from the community to obtain a physical like food cart. They need to make sure that the specification standards are met, right? They are in line with what the state and city says is safe for people. And then they just need to reach out to the purchasing department. Like it's really that simple. Um, and this is something that could easily be done by the university. All right. So let's just review, right? We know that the food on campus isn't the best for people. It's too high in price. And one way we can do this is just access food carts, right? And for all the reasons that I listed, um, it's cheap for people around the community um, to get into this, and also it'll lower the price for the consumers, sort of a win-win. This will really help diversify the type of food that we see on campus. We live in New Mexico. We can't even get a taco at the UNM sub. So let's make this happen, and let's start let's start implementing these steps. Thank you. And here are my sources. Thank you.